Welcome to the Casey Slate podcast, your guide from everything you need to know for video creation, from filming, editing, and YouTube growth without the overwhelm. So, I'm a video editing teacher online and in person, and I wanted to start this podcast because I am an auditory learner as well as a visual learner. I personally love podcasts because I love the option of plug and play and learn as you go. So, for me, I listen to podcasts as I'm doing housework, cooking, or driving. So I love the opportunity to always learn something new and multitask. So, as a listener, I wanted to give you an opportunity to learn about video creation as you go, kind of like a plug and play. You can also check out all of my free tips on my YouTube channel, Casey Slate. You can also find my free resources on caseyslate.com. And I'm so glad that you are here on this podcast, and I welcome you. This is going to be fun. So, in my podcast, I'm going to share a lot of behind the scenes, personal experiences, give a little bit more transparency, like I share in my in person class, and then also share some practical tips that you can apply to video creation. I want to inspire you and motivate you to continue making videos if this is something that is your passion. So, I wanted to give you a little bit of information about me and what you're going to learn in this podcast. So, first of all, I'm a video editing teacher. I have a degree in corporate communications and also in Spanish. So, I teach in person video editing classes as well as high school Spanish classes to homeschoolers that are in middle school or high school. So, I've had some inquiries about how to take my in person class, and my in person classes are for homeschoolers. So, a little bit about me. I love languages, which is why I'm a Spanish teacher. And so when it comes to accents, I just wanted to give you a little bit of information. So I did grow up in the Midwest in Indiana, and I lived there until I was 18. And then I moved to North Carolina, and I've lived here for 25 years. So as far as my accent is concerned, you're going to hear a lot of Southern accent with a little bit of Midwest woven in there. As far as my YouTube journey goes, I started in 2015. I made a beauty tips channel where I shared everything about beauty. I didn't really care about getting views, it wasn't about growth. But then a few years later, I figured out that you can actually monetize a channel on YouTube and make money. So I decided to pick the niche of children's education where I wanted to teach Spanish to children. But over time, my audience started to shift in a different direction and they wanted me to share different content, not necessarily about Spanish lessons. And so, because I followed my audience, I was able to monetize in only 10 months, but I was pushing the algorithm super hard. I was posting one long form video every single day. And this was in 2019 before YouTube Shorts. But then, shortly after I was monetized, the COPPA regulations happened, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, and all of my personalized ads went away. And so I just became a video editor for others for several years until I started to teach my in person classes. And then I started to teach online. And so I decided to get back on YouTube. As far as what I teach, I like to tell my students it is in three different buckets. So, first of all, the filming process. So, this is all about cameras, lighting, positioning, script writing, picking your topic, how to film, where to film, all of those sort of things. Number two is about editing, what software to pick, how to edit your videos, how to cut, where to cut, about transitions, about pacing, everything that goes into editing a video. And number three is your platform. And my platform of choice is YouTube. So I teach a lot about YouTube strategies, about growth. I just achieved my first 100 subscribers on YouTube, and I'm super excited about that and to share about my journey and how you can do the same. I do have a presence on Facebook and also Instagram, but those are not my platforms of choice necessarily. So I absolutely love YouTube. I've been on there for several years, and that's what I love to share about. Also, a little bit about me on the personal side and my YouTube journey. A little over a year ago, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, which is an autoimmune disease, and I was inspired by watching other diagnosis stories on YouTube. And so, since I'm a video creator, I started to get the vision of my own diagnosis story, and I created that. And so that started to grow an audience about the autoimmune disease that I have. And so I had to completely rebrand that channel over to Living with Rheumatoid Arthritis is what that channel is called. So you can check that out if you want to know a little bit more about me personally on the health side. I do share a lot of information on there, a lot of personal, raw stories about what it's like to use a wheelchair and a cane and get a handicap parking pass. Just the social elements to that. I really love the audience in this channel. They've really connected with my story because it's difficult to live with a chronic illness, especially that gives you mobility challenges. Then I started to focus more on my Casey Slate channel, and actually I had to start completely over, and I started to focus more on it in December of 2024. And this is the reason why I wanted to start the podcast, because I wanted to give you, as the listener, more opportunities to learn. And I also wanted to be more transparent and go behind the scenes about how I make my YouTube videos, and just to be a little bit more honest about the whole process and give you more options as far as to learn about video creation. And I wanted to motivate you and inspire you to continue if this is something that you're passionate about. So I'm super excited to start this podcast, and thank you so much for being here. So make sure that you subscribe over on YouTube, and also follow me on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you find your podcasts. And I'm excited to see you in the next episode. Bye, friends.